these farms we typically harvest around 16 tonnes of pasture a year. It's a pretty important number. It really underpins the productivity of the farm. So to drive the pasture harvested as high as we can, setting the stocking rate and calving date are probably the key decisions on the farm. The stocking rate is set working on the premise that we want to minimise or avoid supplement feeding as much as possible. So we set a stocking rate demand curve that closely matches our pasture supply curve, which is a pretty simple approach, but we find that works. We have a long and large database of pasture growth data, so we have good information based on a lot of historical measurements, which tells us how much grass we go at different times of the year, and that really informs decisions about calving date. So really it's simple matching supply and demand as close as we possibly can to avoid the use of either mechanically harvesting grass or feed out. So we would transfer feed to manage the shoulders of the season. So we will use a bit of conserved baleage in autumn to extend days of milk, and a little bit of fodder beet in the autumn time. But principally it's around matching grass supply with grass demand and passing it all through a cow. Because these farms are irrigated, we have a reasonably consistent summer growth rate. So our stocking rate is really set against our early summer pasture growth. So we're not necessarily matched with our complete peak growth. So some of the peak growth is harvested in baleage. So our stocking rate's really based on our summer carrying capacity of the farm. We're dead set against any sort of summer supplement. So we only want enough mouths on the farm to harvest every blade that grows over the summer period. And if we have some spikes, exactly like we're experiencing at the moment, we'll pick that up in terms of baleage. So that's the premise there. So our calving date on these farms is early August, 2nd or 3rd of August, with the heifers a little bit earlier, and that's about 6 weeks in front of balanced date. So we coincide the peak cow demand with peak growth.